Alright, you all. I just said you all. You get the point. We're here to talk about Toriko. This was the best chapter in a while. I got spoiled because I'm a member of a few Toriko groups on social media, and they spoiled it for me. They spammed the picture of Tepai just ripping the heart out of Komatsu. Amazing chapter. Toriko's got a lot mature and darker, which I love. I don't know why. The manga I've been reading are just, they've been getting better and better, and they realize, hey, people like this sort of stuff. They realize the world is not just some nice place where everyone holds hands and no one gets severely injured. I like it. I like it so much. It's a shame that the first 200 chapters of Toriko are not so mature and dark. It's getting a lot better in my opinion. I like it even better than DBZ in certain aspects because DBZ, same thing, it never gets to this sort of thing. DBZ never does this sort of thing where they rip people's hearts out. It's always just, fast-paced fighting and no real injuries. When have you seen someone rip Goku's arm off or pull out someone's heart? I think it's amazing, and a lot of people discount Toriko. So many people who are into manga, which is hard to find in the first place, or anime, I've run into who discount Toriko. It's so disappointing and aggravating, I'll be like, Toriko's so amazing, and they'll be like, it's such a lame cooking food manga. What's so interesting about that? And, here I am luckily finding one person out of the many people out there who, first off, read or watch manga or anime, and not only that, they're male and they like this sort of fighting, mature, dark content. And then here I am, just trying way too hard to convince them. And I think I'm just going to stick to, my online stuff and my videos. I started a series, why you should watch or read this manga. And then I elaborate on one amazing scene. I'm sure a lot of you out there have already seen some of my videos on that. I did one on One Piece and one on Toriko already. I just point those videos out. It's too much frustrating trying. Regardless though, this chapter was quite amazing, obviously because of the ending. I have to remark on it a lot. So again, this is my discussion on this chapter 292. First off, I liked it so much, that sort of heart thing, amazing. Do I think Komatsu's gonna die? No. Anyone who does is an idiot. There's obviously a lot of hype. I've read enough manga at this point where it's just like obvious. It's like they're not gonna kill Komatsu. It's you can just tell when an author's too goody two shoes. I've run into a lot of amateur manga readers who they're just like they like to pose that question. But what if he does die? And I'm just like, when you've read enough manga, it's just like don't even bother expecting it. It wouldn't make sense. I would actually be very much surprised and somewhat enthralled if he was at least taken out for a good 50 chapters, somewhat like the Hikaru no Go sense, because it's kind of like, hey, this could actually work out, or maybe he is gone for a while. It's sort of that like jarring sense of, hey, the author's not as big a pussy as I thought. Having said that though, Komatsu's just too big a character. He's after the previous chapter and a bunch of other things which I don't even want to bother mentioning because it's so obvious. But like they're not going to take out Komatsu from the whole series with all the build up and that whole foreshadowing thing with what he did to finish cooking the air fruit. He literally, evolved and did that black eye thing. It's like they're not just gonna kill him after this. I could go on, and I think anyone who's against that is just very amateur, and it's nothing wrong with that. You lightly read manga, but for me it's pretty obvious. As far as Tepai goes, immediately I told myself I had to say this, remember to say this. I would have much rather liked it if Tepai actually turned to the dark side. When it was revealed that he and everyone else in Neo, or near everyone else, was being mind controlled, it was a cop out and I didn't like it. It's like, okay, Tepai's good, he's being mind controlled. Now in this chapter, it's revealed he can talk and he has his own conscious, although it's a dark side conscious. It's just a complete. It's so much more lamer. It's like Neo's not even Neo. It's just like a small group of people who mind control a greater faction, and it's like all those double agents weren't real double agents. They were just being mind controlled, which is so much lamer. It's like, I thought it'd be so much cooler and so much more shocking if they were really dark agents, which was initially how the author made it seem. So I don't like it. Again, still really cool. Teppai's outfit, the huge Leviathan they flew in on, I very much like those sort of things. All the monsters that the bad guys flew in on. This whole introduction of a third faction, amazing thing to include. I thought it was just so much better than this light side, dark side. I really think that a lot of American film industry can take away a lot from Toriko and other manga out there. They're switching it up. It's not so simple as the dark side and light side. That would have gotten old. In fact, the anime of Toriko makes it really goody two-shoes and lame. Dark side, Bisho Kukai, and it's just sort of lame. And I really hate how the anime depicts it. They make the Bisho Kukai, like in the manga, is depicted as very dark and black. They make it so that it's not black, but everyone's colored in purple and shades of purple and gray and silver when the Bisho Kukai was depicted. It was just too colorful and not enough silhouettes and darkness. Other than that, I very much like, how it was depicted. The whole stage of this chapter was depicted. The initial part with the setup and the stars and the skies, and then the next page where darkness descends. It's just like, holy crap, dang. And just to quote, in front of every shining light there is always a black shadow. And then you see this Leviathan swooping over the land, and Teppai and a few others who we can't tell who they are, with their black cloaks, flying in the distance. It's just awesome. Standing on top of the head of this huge snake flying in, and Teppai has the cloak over his mouth. Amazing stuff. The cape, everything. Then immediately shifts back to this, sort of goody two shoes happy setting, and I think the author's ability to do that is just amazing. A lot of people are just stuck in this goody two shoes thing. It's like fairy tale, and I don't like it. And then they depict the fact that air is like all this stuff. It can be cooked and so forth, and it was kind of underwhelming what air did. Like, sure, it evolved. It allowed them to evolve a part of them, which I talked about before. They will become their full inner demons once they eat the full course of Akatsua. Having said that, though, it's like, it was underwhelming what happened. They just ate air, and it was like having a good feast. It was almost this huge buildup of how amazing Akatsua's food was, and how eating just not even eating, but coming close to it, or being in 1,000-mile radius of the smell, or before it was even cooked, the buildup was just not as great as them actually eating it. Sure, it was amazing, and sure, it's going to provide a lot of great effects. Coco remarked on a lot of them, 4 breaths of this and you're healed of most deep wounds, and then enough, and you could probably live without breathing for weeks on end, which is ridiculous. And at the same time, it's like, okay, it's awesome, but I was expecting some ridiculous thing, as soon as they got it close to their mouth, they just blow up or something. And the build up, remember when Toriko sniffed it and you could see into the space. Physics standpoint, it's impossible, but still, it's like, what the heck? That's it, you eat it and nothing much else happens. But again, as far as Coco's remarks go, it pretty much foreshadows one of the ways Komatsu's going to be fine. Sure, his heart's ripped out of him now, but at the same time, it's like, air was just remarked on in this chapter to be able to heal deep wounds like that with a few breaths of this stuff. not even eating it, just breathing it in. Again, it said bone fractures, large deep cuts, heavy burns, not exactly a huge thing like ripping your heart out of someone. That I don't even think medical technology of today could fix. But still, again, finally I do have to say Teppai's whole thing, ridiculously awesome, amazing, and obviously Zebra's all, in full control of this whole inner demon thing now. And finally, we have to remark on this old sage, Daruma Sage's story, which obviously the author made up on the spot, or not really on the spot, but recently. He had incorporated this new thing where the Blue Nitro are not good. They're bad people who enslaved the human race and sort of used them as some sort of fertilizer or slaves, created the four beasts and the lava monsters, and then sort of like manufactured humans, made them better with the gourmet cells. So now we kind of understand where they came from, and then we sort of realize how they can be incorporated into a human, and they realize we get the origins of the bewitching food world. They were the monsters, which are, I guess weaker than the non-monsters who were able to incorporate gourmet cells. I think it's stupid to just throw out the monsters if they are stronger or more effective, but I guess they were weaker monsters, which doesn't really make sense because they're in the gourmet world, which is ridiculous. And from what I can tell, at least their descendants are on a much higher, more powerful level than the human world, humans. So it's like, if the gourmet cells make them monsters, so what? They could be more helpful for the Blue Nitro. Regardless, the origins of the bewitching food world are understood. They're monsters, descendants of the monsters who couldn't accept the gourmet cells, yada yada. You know what happened. And so finally, I guess the last thing I have to remark on is the entrance of these people. The villagers saying thank you, and then all of a sudden, all this air pushing down on them, somewhat like a attack. Like I'm sure they're just unconscious. Maybe they died. We don't know. Seems like they're just unconscious. Some sort of attack. Boom! They all get knocked out immediately, and then all of a sudden, Teppai comes in. It's almost like he teleports in, or like through another dimension, comes in behind Komatsu with, just so awesome. His wardrobe, black gloves, black cloak, white bandaged mouth. This guy understands fashion and wardrobe. Maybe in person this author sucks at fashion, but at least he can draw fashion well. And then we see Teppai doing so awesome. He's like, he has his own consciousness. It's not just like he's mindlessly controlled anymore. He says, "Why don't you be a good boy and sleep quietly for a while?" You know what? That's all I really want to say about this chapter. But I really hope that they'll make it so that Teppai is actually evil. The author can still change things. He could be like, "I was mind controlled, but I soon realized that the power of why joining the Neo side was the better, and therefore they released the mind control and I stayed with them." That would be awesome as far as the plot goes. And then obviously I very much like the ending with just like, Komatsu, even though his heart's ripped out, he still looks over at Toriko, which is a biological improbability, but still, that whole split second thing where Komatsu, at first he's like, "What?" And then he looks over at Toriko, and then Toriko's like, he sees it. At first he sees it, and then that split second reaction. Same thing with when he saw Starjin abducting Komatsu. Komatsu, if you guys don't know, Komatsu is the same age, if not older, than Toriko, although he looks a lot younger. They're best friends, and then Toriko's like, "Komatsu!" And then he's probably gonna go ballistic again, similar to when Starjin did it, but this time even more so because this is an even bigger event. Last time, Starjin just abducted Komatsu for his own uses. This time, he's seeing Komatsu's heart ripped out. Have to applaud this chapter. 9 out of 10. Solid 9 out of 10. Not perfect. Still pretty good. Thanks for watching. As always, like, favorite, comment, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.